Welcome to episode 66 of Gaming Dad 101, a show for gamers that became dads and are now looking for cheat codes. If you're new to the show, Gaming Dad 101 goes live each and every single Wednesday on podcast services all over the internet. If you like the show, please consider rating us and subscribing to our feed. That way you get the shows directly. And make sure to go ahead and share the show with your friends and family. If you want to join the conversation in our community, please go check out our Facebook group over at facebook.com and search Gaming Dad 101. I'm your host for today, Chris, and joining me is Ricky.
What's going on, everybody?
Now, before we get into the show, I want to take some house cleaning and take a moment to do some house cleaning over on the show. Now, as you guys have known, we've mentioned our Patreon before. We haven't advertised it too much, and there's a reason for that. We started the Patreon, but realistically, we feel we didn't do it the right way. So effective immediately, we're actually taking our Patreon down for the moment because we're going to be revamping everything. 2019 is the year for GeekEnd to improve and increase what we are doing. One of those things is going to be the Patreon. So at the moment, if you're considering being a Patreon and helping us in that direction, don't worry, it is going to be back. We'll let you guys know when we revamped it, but we've acknowledged that what we put up is not necessarily what we would like to have up there and doesn't necessarily reflect what we can do. So we'd like to improve that before we start saying, hey guys, come contribute. That way we give you guys more value for essentially what you're paying for. So if you're interested in Patreon, don't worry, it is coming back. We are going to be doing some restructuring of the shows and things like that. And on that subject, we would like to reach out to you, the listener. That's right. Let us know what you like, what you love about the show, what you may not like about the show, things that you would like to see us do, things that you would like us to talk about, and topics of discussion that you would like us to have, any suggestions that you have for the show. Please feel free to go over and reach out to us over on Facebook or reach out on Twitter. If you have us on Facebook or you can find us and just reach out to us directly, we're very friendly. We don't bite. So go ahead and give us some ideas. We'd love to hear them. Now, before we get into the news, Ricky, how has your week been, man? Have you played anything new? I know, technically speaking, and nobody does this, but I'll admit it because I'm that angry at myself. Technically, this is our fifth take. We've had so many technical difficulties this evening that it's not even funny, and at this point, I'm just glad I got through that intro. We are never going to release those bloopers. Ricky, I promise I will hunt you down.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Those need to disappear. So, with that said... So, Ricky, tell the nice people listening what you've been playing, because I ruined your previous explanation. I'm sorry.
Woo! Let's see if I can get this word by word again. No, I've actually been playing Lego DC Supervillain.
Yes.
So for those that haven't actually played it so far, it's a very beautiful game. It's fun to play. One thing I did forget to mention on the last take was when I actually got the game, I was not expecting it, but it actually came with a $10 movie ticket to see Aquaman.
Oh, sweet.
Yes, I forgot to mention that earlier. But yeah, I never really played Lego games like all the way through. I own Lego Batman 3, if I'm not mistaken. I've played it. I've started to play it. I think I'm still probably in the very beginning stages of it. I'm not that far in. I think I've only unlocked like 2 characters on that game. But with the Supervillain game, it's actually catching my attention a lot more because you're able to play as supervillains. I mean, I love superheroes and everything. I will say it, I will always choose a superhero over a supervillain. But
this time
I
you
need
decided to buy the villain instead of the superhero game.
Yes, because to me, I've noticed I'm just like getting tired of the superheroes, man. I'm always saving the day. Nah, I want to destroy.
It's time for Ricky. It's time for Ricky to get to get what he deserves. Finally, after all this world has torn him apart.
But yeah, some of the things that I'm actually enjoying about this game is the mechanic to where you can actually create your own supervillain from the very beginning of the game. I know for what I've been told so far.
On the last take.
You can actually create, I guess, a character, but you have to like go to a very secret location, and it's kind of hard and difficult to get to.
It's not easily accessible. Yeah, it's not something that the game allows you to do it, but it's not a core mechanic of the game. You can do it, but just for funsies. You know what I mean? Like you can create it, you can assign the moves, etc. But you're not forced to go in that direction. But from what you're telling me, that's how you start the game, right?
Yes, that's how you start the game. You actually create your own supervillain. You are starting off in the jail.
Hmm.
You have Commissioner Gordon coming into I think I want to say it's Arkham
Okay.
Asylum, and
Hmm.
then you have Lex Luthor. Gordon is talking to Lex, saying, "Hey, here's this file. I know that you know who this person is, and I need you to tell me more about this person." And all you see is just a silhouette with a question mark, of the character that you're about to create. So Lex Luthor basically opens the folder up, and that's when you can go down
And
on
that's your
create.
character creator.
That's your character creator right from the very beginning. You can name it whatever you want. You can customize the hair, the clothing, the
That's pretty cool.
colors. So yeah, you can customize the weapons, the abilities that they'll get. At the very beginning, your abilities are locked, but you can choose a weapon, and then the more you progress through the game, the more things you unlock, the more you can customize it. Excuse me, and the more you can actually give it abilities. So another core mechanic of the game, again, from the little bit that I've played the other one, with the villains one, it has the ability that whenever you're done with the chapters that you're playing,
Mhm.
it gives you the ability to go into like a mini open world town, and you can walk around the town. For me, my character that I was playing with allowed me to create a vehicle, and it ended up being like a semi truck style vehicle that I had built. Yeah,
Okay. So Optimus Prime, got it.
pretty much. So now I'm going around town collecting other supervillains to join my team. And while you're in this little open world, I was traveling. I found the road to how to get to Arkham Asylum. I found the roads to go through like the Wayne Manor areas. So
Hmm.
I just been driving around. I've actually been just enjoying the game. Period. The mechanics are pretty smooth. So yeah, and then
So highly recommend it.
I recommend it so far. I
Now
mean,
you did also have a separate recommendation for this week.
yes, that's what I was gonna go into in a second. The other thing that I was gonna recommend, we are not sponsored by them, but I'm pretty sure.
Unfortunately, but feel free to reach out.
But yes, but if you looked at Nintendo Switch accessories, I'm pretty sure you have come across this brand. It's called Satisfied, and they make a hand
The
grip.
question is, are you satisfied?
Yes, very. Woohoo! They make this attachment for the Switch, which is a hand grip, and it's not your normal hand grip where you can buy at the store and it just gives you like little nipples to wrap your hands around. Worst choice of words, but I'm
Yeah,
keeping it.
terrible, terrible visual, but okay.
So the actual grips themselves are pretty meaty, where you can actually wrap your hands, around it, and you're feeling comfortable. So Chris was making a joke earlier that I'm over 6 foot tall. Yes, I have big hands. Ha! And
Anybody who listens to the podcast doesn't understand what means. Ricky just shoved his hand in the camera.
but yeah, so I mean, I'm able to play what I said last time I played it. I played it for about 4 hours, basically my whole Switch life cycle, from 100% all the way up to 7%. And during that 4 hour gameplay, not only did I play it with the supervillain game, but I was also playing a shooter game on the Switch. I did play Fortnite on it with the hand grip. I did play what I said, Red or In Motor Redneck, which is a fast shooter.
I
It's a
still can't believe that's a game. I
yes,
still cannot believe that's a
and it's
game.
a freaking awesome game too.
That
It's
that's the weirder part.
Yes, and it's a very fast paced shooter, arena kind of game, and again, just having my hands using the triggers, analogs, just constantly moving, pressing the different buttons that you have to do, to play those games. Again, I have no issues. I have zero cramping on my wrist. You know, where you sometimes
Sweet.
have to like, okay, let me put the switch down after like 30 minutes of like straight gameplay
Yeah, when
because
you're holding it for too long, it kind of gets
yeah,
bothersome.
no, I had no issues whatsoever. So right now I'm enjoying it. I did take it to work with me. So yes. I mean I can't.
Lunch breaks strictly. That's
Yeah, sure, sure. Uh huh. Yeah.
nice. All right, so now let's go ahead and move over to our first segment of the show. Now, this is a segment that we were calling Ricky's Gaming Corner. We realized it didn't quite roll off the tongue. Temporarily, we're trying out a game, and we're going to call this segment for today, and Sue sticks around, Reasons Why We're Broke. So, Ricky, go ahead and give us reasons why we would be broke this week.
Well, this week we had Kingdom Hearts 3 finally come out on the 29th for the PS4 and Xbox One. And then today we actually have Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown finally coming out for the PC.
Nice.
And that's all we got for this week so
So I
far.
guess this week we get to keep a little bit of money.
This
Just,
week,
just a little
yeah,
tiny
just
bit.
just a little bit.
All right. So now that we have covered our first segment, let's go ahead and get into the news for this week. This week, the news starts over on GameSpot, an article over by Tamor Hussein. Metroid Prime 4's development has been restarted with Retro Studios taking over. So last week, Nintendo provided an unexpected update on the state of Metroid Prime 4. In a video, Senior Managing Executive Officer Shinya Takagashi admitted that development of the game thus far hasn't reached the standards the publisher wanted and the project has been rebooted. Additionally, Retro Studios, the Texas-based team that developed the 3 previous entries in the series, has been brought back to work on the sequel. Quote, although this is very regrettable, we must let you know that the current development progress has not reached the standards we seek in the sequel to Metroid Prime series. Takashi said, Nintendo always strives for the highest quality in our games, and in our development phase, we challenge ourselves and confront whether the game is living up to that quality on a daily basis. From this perspective, we have determined that the current development status of Metroid Prime 4 is very challenged, and we have to make a difficult decision as a development team. We have decided to re-examine the development structure and change it. So, bad news. Clearly, off the bat, we're not getting Metroid Prime 4 anytime soon. There was a lot of speculation of whether we get it this year for 2019 or it would come out for 2020. Clearly, that's not the case. Could it potentially still come out in 2020? I guess realistically, that's a bit tight considering that they just admitted that they're going to be restarting from scratch. I'm sure there's going to be certain aspects that they may be able to save, certain art that they may be able to use. But again, we're starting from the beginning. So I'm thinking this game at the earliest, maybe 2021. So that is the shame. The good news is that, of course, all of us that got excited for a Metroid Prime 4 coming out have this expectation of what a Metroid game should be. Let's be realistic. If you're a hardcore fan of the franchise, you're going to be very rough in terms of judging it and whether it's good or not. So the good news is that they're clearly admitting that it wasn't to their potential, and they're clearly admitting that they're going to go back to give you the quality product that you deserve. I personally would rather wait the extra time to get a polished game rather than get something pushed. And realistically, I mean, Ricky, I think you can attest to this too. Nintendo, out of all the developers, is the one that has the highest polish rate and needs the least amount of fixes and bug fixes after release. You're not downloading much patches for Nintendo on like first day patches like any other developer out there, you know? So I personally think that this is a good thing. What do you think?
I think it's phenomenal. I mean, this is just another reason why I love Nintendo. You know, they're not afraid to tell their investors or anybody, it's like, listen, this thing is not to the quality to our standards. We are going to have to restart this game all over again. You know, we know that we can do better. We expect, better results from our studios. So just by them alone admitting, say, hey, we're going to go ahead and redo this from scratch, that's already a thumbs up for me.
Yeah,
Just because I know they're not going to give me crap at the end of the day. So
yeah. I mean, what it boils down to is, do you want to have a polished game that you're going to enjoy and love from the get-go, or would you rather have a broken system? You know what I mean?
exactly.
I'd rather take more time. But now here's the good news, or Potential good news, segueing off of that story, over on Nintendo Live, reported by Liam Doolin. Apparently, there's a rumor that the Metroid Prime trilogy that we were just talking about, that was worked on by Retro Studios, for Nintendo Switch, is ready to be released. So, no, I'm going to go ahead and read the article. It says, no, it's not some horrible nightmare. Nintendo has, in fact, announced the development of Metroid Prime 4 will be restarted, with the original developer Retro Studios now collaborating with producer Kensuke Tanabe. Prior to the shock announcement for Nintendo, there were rumors circulating late last year about the re-release of Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch as an appetizer. So what's the current status of the rumored project? According to a series of tweets by Game Informer senior editor Imran Khan, quote, "It's been long done," unquote. And the initial announcement for the Trilogy Collection on Switch was supposed to happen last month, but not necessarily at the Game Awards. Why exactly this game wasn't revealed by Nintendo around this time is unknown. So now that we've been told that this is going to be restarted, I personally think that this would be the best solution. For those people that are going to be upset, because inevitably, being the internet, people are going to be mad.
Mm-hmm.
Why is my game not coming out when you promised me? Why is this not happening? They're not thinking of the fact that, hey, the game would be broken if you got it now. But all that aside, I think this is a great way to provide that fan service and keep everybody happy in the meantime, while we wait for them to redo what they're doing, and at the same time, re-fall in love with the Metroid series all over again. So currently, unfortunately, it is a rumor, but let's be realistically, I'm pretty sure I can safely say both of us are going to get it if it comes out. Go ahead, Ricky. Try to tell me I'm wrong.
I guess, again, like you said, this is the reason why we broke.
This is the reason we broke. So, moving over to the next article, as reported on comicbook.com by Tyler Fisher, Nintendo may be bringing 3D gaming to the Switch. Apparently, there's a new patent that was filed by Nintendo that seems to be them putting in a license for doing 3D gaming similar to the 3DS, but on the Switch. Realistically, are you interested in this, Ricky?
Nope.
Did you ever play the 3DS to start with?
Okay. I own the new 3DS.
Did you enjoy the 3D feature? Is it something you actually used?
Not at all. I've always turned it off. I mean, I tried it a handful of times, but to me, because I do wear glasses, and with the 3DS, you actually have to have it on the right angle to actually have the full effect, for it to work properly. It actually gave me a headache just trying to always adjust my wrist, to align it perfectly. So I always caught myself turning it off, even to today.
Yeah, and you see, and I actually went out of my way to avoid the 3DS altogether. And whenever I did use a 3DS, I would turn on the 3D for like 5 minutes for the novelty, just to be like, oh, this is really cool. But then I'd shut it off, and that's kind of why, like, is it needed for the Switch? Would it be better on the Switch? I guess is another question I have.
No.
And is it going to be, and here's the thing, has the technology been in the system this whole time and just hasn't been used? Or is this for the rumored updated system, like the Switch 2.0 or the Switch 1.5 or whatever they're going to call it?
There's a possibility, that it could be in the background, or it could just be an effect that you can do with the screen that the Switch has. It's something that they can just add, say, hey, turn on the mode and have the capability of just turning it on and off from the settings, give you that extra capability. Or it could possibly, like you just said, it could be something that they're building into the new Switch for it. But again, it's like, okay, do we want it to be a 3D style game, or do you want it to be VR? Which of the two are the less evil? To me, the VR, to actually have your Nintendo Switch, up in your face, I kind of don't really care for it as much, and I can honestly care less about the 3D. I mean, again, I own a 3DS and I don't use it, so
it's novelty. I mean, it's cool, but it's not great for long-term play.
No, it's not. Especially for car rides. If you're in some kind of a transit, you will get motion sickness.
He knows from experience.
Yes.
Oh man, that's actually a terrible experience to have. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh yes, I can't even read a book in the backseat. I'll get nauseous.
Oh wow, yeah. So you're bad at it. Okay.
Yeah, no. So to me, I will not be using the 3D portion at all. Really.
Like, I mean, if it's something that does come to the Switch and it comes to, for example, to the Switch that I already have, I'll turn it on for the novelty of it and I'll enjoy
Huh.
it here and there, but it's not something I'm going to stick around with. It's not, it's just definitely, as much as I hate to say this, I'm old and it messes with my eyes. That sounds so terrible.
I have glasses, so only imagine.
I should have glasses. So that there goes that. I
Ooh.
know, right? So then let's go ahead and move on to the next news, which isn't really that big of a news, but I did want to bring it up because I'm curious to see what you think. So,
Okay.
in an interview, Phil Spencer, which is of course Xbox's vice president or president, indicated that with PlayStation, of course, not participating in E3 as they've mentioned, that this is going to be one of the biggest E3s that Xbox is going to have. I'm very happy for two reasons. Number one, it shows that one, they're not afraid of it, and two, they're taking this opportunity to run with it. I fear a little bit for PlayStation. We've talked about the reasons why in other episodes, but Xbox has again been planting seeds all along the way for next gen. They've been
Mhm.
preparing for next gen. So with preparing for next gen, if they now have this huge plan for E3 and they pull it off successfully, this may be what they needed to start bringing them up because they already lost this generation. They know this. They've admitted this. There's really no way in hell they can catch up to PlayStation at this point. All of their eggs are in the next gen. That this I think that this has the potential to be a massive E3 and it has the potential to move the dial over to the Xbox side very hard if PlayStation is not careful. And it's a great opportunity for Xbox because again, they've been working very hard and they deserve it at this point. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. The question really becomes, will they live up to the hype? Because I don't know if do you remember last year's E3, Ricky?
Oh yeah, it was jam packed. Title after title. To me, honestly,
Xbox
it
did great last year.
no,
So
they
if to
they
think
did
about bigger than
they did
that,
awesome.
you know?
Well, okay, this is the way that I can think about it because if you remember last year's E3, they all they really did they were just running through game titles after game titles after game titles, and it,
Hmm.
it and it just made you feel like that overwhelming feeling of, oh my god, I am getting all of this. Yes, mind you, half the games. It also didn't give you the time to actually even think that half these games weren't even coming anytime soon.
Until like 2019,
Exactly.
2020.
So,
But
but
they were
I
just in your face, one after
exactly.
the other.
So by the way of them saying, "Hey, this might be the biggest E3 ever for us," is because again, PS4 is not going to be there. Sony is not going to be there. So I'm pretty sure that E3 is still going to be the same time span, throughout, even not including Sony. So each producers now, each company is going to have, I'm assuming, at least I hope, more time, you know, on air to actually, show off their products, show us, what's upcoming, give us more time, being able to go down into more details about what you're going to be able to give us. So yes, if you have this much more allowed time because Sony's is not going to be there and you're going to be able to divide that time up between all of the additional, current companies that are actually going to be there, you
Hmm.
better come with information. You better
Then yeah,
have exactly. You're gonna be on the spot.
that
You're
and
gonna
that's the issue.
yes,
PlayStation may not be there. Take full advantage of it, but now
exactly.
you've put the spotlight on you.
Hmm.
Now you're like, it's gonna be great. So now we're gonna be expecting something great. So the problem with it and what I fear is it gonna live up to the hype? That is my concern. So we'll see when E3 comes around. I'm really excited to see what happens this year.
I'm
This year is
excited.
gonna be interesting.
I'm excited, but just to fair warn, I'm not gonna have any expectations going into E3 because I actually want to enjoy E3.
Fair enough.
So
All right, so now this next article is kind of a big deal, and I think that it's the beginning of a shift in the industry. But I'm going to go ahead and read the article in its entirety over on GameIndustry.biz. This article is by Brendan Sinclair. Metro Exodus PC is skipping Steam for Epic Games Store. So another big PC game is skipping Steam. A Deep Silver and Epic Games today announced Metro Exodus for the PC will launch February 15th exclusively on the Epic's Game Store. Quote, Epic's generous revenue terms are a game changer that would allow publishers to invest more into content content creation or passed on savings to the players. Deep Silver CEO Dr. Clemens Kondratitz said, quote, by teaming up with Epic, we will be able to invest more into the future of Metro and ongoing partnership with Series developer 4A Games to the benefit of our Metro fans. The Epic Game Store takes 12% of all revenue earned on the platform, while Steam commands a 30% cut that scales down to 20% on revenues once a title surpasses 50 million in sales. As for passing the savings on to the consumers, the standard edition of the game will sell for $50 on the storefront as opposed to the $60 pre-orders that have been listed on Steam. So you're already getting $10 in savings on that. Deep Silver and Epic Games said that those who have already pre-ordered Metro Exodus through Steam and other digital fronts will still be able to download and play the games that they had expected. So that's the good news. If you've already pre-ordered it, you're set. You're good to go. But if you haven't and you want to play that game on PC, you're going to have to go to the Steam store going forward. On top of that, Steam has promised through 2019, every month they're giving away free games. They've given out Subnautica. They've given out Super Meat Boy. I forgot what game is on this month, but there's a third game that's on this month. They are keeping up this promise. So clearly, Epic has stepped up the game. They've created a new store. People, sure, it's new and sure, it needs innovation, but realistically, Steam has been running this market for so long, they didn't need to do anything. Now that there's competition, and I mean, look at the differences, guys. When you're looking at it, Epic is taking 12% cut of revenue, while Steam was taking 30 and 20% after $50 million sold. That's a pretty significant difference. You know what I mean? And I get it, everybody needs their cut, but clearly Epic is appealing to a lot of people, and particularly the indie developer is probably going to start flipping over to the Epic store because they are getting better revenue there. And of course, they are getting more advertisement because of things like this. So now it's going to be interesting to see Steam have to sit back and figure out what they want to do in order to remain relevant.
Make more games. Go back to actually developing games.
Yes!
That's how you stay relevant.
Portal 3,
Yep.
Half-Life 3, those are the two games that everybody in this world wants. That is all we want Valve to do, right? So, but yes, and I mean, and perhaps maybe that's why Valve did announce toward the later of last year, that they were going to start back on developing games. Did they know? Did they see the writing on the wall or something? But yeah, they're gonna have to improve their store, because when you compare Epic Store and the Steam store, they're two completely different things. And they're going to have to come up with something that's going to, incentivize anybody who wants to put up anything on their store. So I think this is going to be interesting, because now we're getting into a point where with digital sales, now we're going to start seeing more competition. I mean, look at that. Just by getting in an Epic, you're going to save $10 on the game itself. That's great.
And that's actually very smart if you really think about it, because yes, we're seeing the $10, savings on our side, and I know we've spoken about it multiple times throughout the show, that we are willing, as paying customers, I am willing to pay additional money, about up to $80 for an actual physical copy. So by them not just saying, oh, we're going to be saving more money, we're going to be able to make more profit, here's a $60 game. No, they're telling you, hey, here's a $50 game. It's going to be yours digitally. But now actually start thinking about it. You don't have to spend money, overhead for making a physical copy.
Correct.
That's just a licensing code that they're just going to be giving to you. So to them, that's no,
it's not difficult.
No, it's not. And they're going to actually be making more money through Epic. I think we might actually start seeing this a lot more throughout the future.
Oh, definitely.
Just because I think Epic, I think they're probably the first out there to try to take that business back into their platform, to have more people attracted to their servers. That way, hey, not only can you have, Metro Exodus, but hey, here's Fortnite. So now you're like, oh, I'm already in the store. Oh, it's a free game. Oh, let me just try it out.
And you also got to think of it this way. Epic Games are the creators of the Unreal Engine.
Yep.
They are the ones who created Unreal Engine. I'll say it once again for anybody in the back who didn't hear. They created Unreal Engine. It is the engine that is used by like 80 to 90% of the games that are made out there.
Hmm.
Unless you make your own engine, you're using Unreal Engine.
Hmm.
They're the ones who make it. So they have
And
all these partnerships to
yep.
be able to do all these deals and be able to, figure out how they can help each other out and undercut Steam. And that is very interesting.
So hopefully the market gets even tighter. Steam hopefully starts cracking out those games that we've been wanting. But it's a scary moment for Steam. It really not really scary because them fools over there make just buttload of money. I'm
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
not. I'm not really too
Just
concerned for Steam. They'll be
just
fine.
by that, yeah, just by that they're making buttloads of money from every other you know IP that they have in their platform. But
Yep.
it's gonna make them rethink their strategy and how they want to continue moving forward within their stores, and to better their market shares within this industry.
So we'll see whether by the end of 2019, it's going to be a very telling year whether Steam is still on top or whether Epic Game Store or any other front has come up and started that competition. And as Ricky said, realistically, what's most exciting about that is that it does bring the potential to, while we are willing to pay more, to actually be able to pay less. So let's see how that goes because I'm very, very interested. So, and then we're going to go ahead and close out the news section with the last bit of news, which isn't really news, but it is interesting to put out there. Spider-Man gets 2 more Fantastic Four themed costumes. So if you log into your Spider-Man right now and you download the newest update, you'll see that you are receiving 2 new suits. One of them, they're both very interesting. It's one of them is like a black and white theme suit, and then the other one is actually the suit where he fought alongside the Fantastic Four. The Human Torch gave him a suit that didn't really fit him, and because he didn't have a mask, they gave him a paper bag. So they're very, they're very, very interesting. Um, Definitely go check them out. These are free. This is a free update. Ricky's putting his phone toward the camera if anybody's watching the video. Yep, that's the one. So definitely go check those out because those are pretty freaking sweet. Freaking ridiculous. All right, so now that we're done with the news, once again, if you're new to the show, we are going into our next segment, which is the gaming cheat code of the week. This is a parenting cheat code that we give out. Basically, it's either created by us over in the here on the show. It's either created by members of our community that they provide us their cheat codes over at our Facebook group. Once again, that's facebook.com and search for Gaming Dad 101. It'll be the first group that shows up. So you can submit cheat codes there if you would like your cheat code read on the air. And the other way that we get these cheat codes is every now and then when we get really lazy and can't come up with something, we go to internet memes. So we've shared a couple of those in the past. Now, this week's cheat code is actually written by me. Now, the cheat code for this week, I'm going to go ahead and read it first. Growth comes with chaos, from the pantry to your daily task. And here's what it means. Essentially, it encompasses growth, regardless of what happens or what you're doing, whether it's an individual for your personal self in terms of your character, whether it's your children when they're growing up. Every change comes with chaos. Every time somebody grows, you have to go through a period where you learn from, and that's what makes you grow. You have to go through trials and tribulations, and realistically, like, this applies on 2 fronts in my life, which is the reason why I picked it for this week. There's been a lot of changes going on in my personal life and a lot of things that have been feeling out of whack. I'm not a person that's very happy with change. It takes me a long time sometimes to adapt to change. I can adapt in terms of, doing things, but mentally it always messes with me until I get used to something, which explains why, we recorded the intro for this episode 5-6 times. So
I'm glad you actually said it because I was actually gonna put you on the spot. It's like, yeah, he took it about 5-6 times.
yeah, 5 or 6 times because it's something that changed, and as I said, we're trying to grow the show. We're going to be doing new things. We're going to be trying new things, and all of that comes with some chaos. And that as well has been a part of my personal life with the children. For example, both of my boys are now going through growth spurts. I cannot keep snacks in the house. I can barely keep food in the house. My kids aren't even teenagers yet. So my point is, no matter the type of growth, there is always chaos involved. So, this is kind of a reminder for everybody listening. This is also a reminder for myself, really, just because, as I've mentioned, you get comfortable with things that are surrounding you, and then every now and then a change will happen, and it brings this ridiculous chaos into your life. But it is temporary, and it is needed for growth, and that's what we all need to remember, myself included. So that is the cheat code that I picked for this week. And yes, Ricky, I did call myself out because I can do that.
No, but I mean, I agree with your cheat code. I mean, my daughters are growing girls. You know, they're not like boys, so they're not eating my whole kitchen off. But it comes no well with their snacks. Normally we used to hide like their snacks like on the top part of the pantry, but now we're starting to put it on the lower part of the pantry just because we're now able to start trusting my 1 year old. That's about soon to be 2 year old now in this month. In 22
Nice.
days. Yeah, in 22 days she'll be two. Um, so we're now putting the snacks, lower just because she's been lately because she has been sick. She's been very, very, very picky on what she wants to eat and all that stuff. So just to make it easier on us and make it easier on her when she's actually hungry, she would actually go to the pantry, open it up, and pick something that she actually likes and that whatever she actually wants at that specific moment. One, it has helped with her pickiness. Um, and it's just easier on us. I mean,
Yeah.
instead of her constantly calling me over like, eh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 and pointing out whatever, and then I have to pick her up and like, all right, what the heck do you want? I don't know what yeah, 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 yeah means. What do you want?
And that's the thing. That's why I said chaos. No matter the form of growth, no matter the form of growth, it's always full of chaos.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing I've learned in my life. So, with that said, is there anything you would like to share before we sign off for this week?
No, I'm actually pretty good. Again, guys, give us feedback. I mean, we're open. We want to improve the show for
Yep.
you. We do this for you. This is something that it's our hobby. We enjoy doing, and we just want to continue doing it. But we want to make it to where it's fun, not just for us, but it's also fun for you. Because
Yes.
we truly understand, yes, our shows normally run between 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So that's an hour and a half that you have to listen to us bantering about whatever the heck we're talking about. So we just want to make it more pleasant for you.
Yep.
We want you to just stay with us, listen, have fun. I mean, if we can have you on the show, we will even, try to have everybody on the show at the same time. But
Well, and on that note, we are going to be doing some things in 2019. We are looking to have more guests this year.
mhm,
We are looking to start things on YouTube. You've heard us mention over the past couple of episodes the mention of cameras and the things about silly faces and oh my god, the recording and this and that. We've been trying new things which we haven't published out there, but they are coming soon. I can guarantee you that Gaming Dad 101 as a YouTube show will be out there at some point. We'll let you guys know when. We've again been testing it and we're trying to make sure that that is running and that we have a decent amount of material before we launch that on YouTube. So that is one of the things that I am going to announce now that is underway. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are looking at our Patreon because we launched the Patreon, and realistically, we did not launch it correctly. Full disclosure, we should not have launched it the way that we did. So I personally would like to apologize for us launching that and kind of shoving that in everybody's face in an incorrect manner. So we are taking it down to revamp it and do it the right way. We are looking for things for our other shows and how to do those. We are looking for other things to do in 2019, and this is what we're doing. That is, Geekend for 2019 is a year of chaos, which ties in with this week's cheat code. So, with that
yep.
said, this has been episode 66 for Gaming Dad 101. Once again, remember, Gaming Dad 101 is live each and every single Wednesday all over the internet and eventually YouTube as well. So, Make sure to go ahead and check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. You can find Ricky at Picky Gamer Dad. You can find me at Visk Zen. You can follow GeekEnd Cast for any of the updates that are coming up soon at GeekEnd Cast on Twitter. Make sure to go ahead and check out our website, which actually don't check out our website for now because that is one of the things that is being revamped as well. I'm telling you, 2019 is a year for improvement for GeekEnd Cast. So once again, I am going to say, please, if you have any suggestions for the show, anything you'd like to see, let us know. If you have any guests that you would like us to try to reach out to be on the show, let us know. If you are knowledgeable in the video game space, you have your own show, and you're a content creator, by all means, reach out. We would love to collaborate with you guys. As a matter of fact, I even posted it on my Twitter. Anybody looking to collaborate, hit me up. We are open, and we want to make sure that we make new friends in 2019, that we're reaching out to new audiences in 2019. And for all our loyal listeners, we need your help. 2019 is going to be the year that we ask you guys to share the show, share with people, tell people about it. Help us get the word out, because realistically, this show does not live without you, the listener, and eventually you, the watcher. So we need you guys. We're, like as Ricky mentioned, we're here for you. We're here for your entertainment. So let us know what you would like to see, and we're going to look at it and see what we can do. So with that said, again, thank you once again for joining us this week. We will see you guys next Wednesday.
Luego.
Peace.